Yeah, so this is my personal site. This is where I kind of do all of my. It's kind of where I just keep my stuff in order, right? All my writings and my social media, and I have blog posts that come in that I write in here, and I have it synced to all kinds of other blog platforms. But I find that using GitHub Copilot in writing blogs extremely beneficial. And in fact, I just edited the custom agent that I was using. So I'm gonna go ahead and just test it out real quick, right? So I want to create a blog post article um on the latest. Let me see, on the top 5 mistakes when creating custom agents for GitHub Copilot. All right. So what I did was I added custom agents, and I added some verbiage on making sure that it asked me a lot of clarification questions, because I really wanted to really capture what I'm trying to say. Um, but what's really cool is it augments it with a bunch of different um, research tools. It's asking for more context. Okay, there we go. I want some context makes this more authentic. What inspired you? Okay, so based on my experience building. All right, so the reason why is, as I have used custom agents, I find that there are some are so detailed that it loses the main objective. Also, the creation of this agent article really makes me want to document or research more ways to do this kind of pattern. All right, so let's see what else kind of questions it does. As you can see now, it's doing fact extractor, right? So now what it's doing is, based on like what I want to do and based on some given context, it's gonna research. It's gonna find relevant sources to support some of the claims that I want to establish. This is really important to me, right? Like I don't I want my articles to have real facts, be grounded in reality, and so there's a fact extractor where it does research. It researches different concepts, researches broadly for different sources, and then it actually goes into an approach of validating the facts. So like finding cross source contradictions, making sure that the sources uh, are making sure that the sources are reliable, and then it's going to go again into more clarification, right? To make sure that the sources that it found in the facts and the claims that we've established match what I kind of want to portray, right? And by match I mean, obviously if I say get a custom agents for GitHub Copilot, does it want to go deep into the syntax, or does it want to go deep into patterns or the philosophies, right? So that's kind of how I wanted to approach this. I'm gonna let this run here. The fact extract. So actually, let me expand it. See what it's doing. Well, while we're here, I think maybe it's a good time to talk a little bit about what a custom GitHub Copilot custom agent is, right? If you don't know what it is. So with GitHub Copilot, it allows for you to have a interactive experience with obviously Copilot, GitHub Copilot, right? But scratch all that because that's horrible. Um, let me just I guess give you a little brief about what a GitHub Copilot custom agent is. Well, custom agents is essentially a role, right? It has motives, it has tools, and it also has a description, obviously. But basically, it's a defined role that gets run underneath the agent. Right? So you can have a code review agent, you could have security audit agent, you could have a programming agent, right? There's a bunch of like general agents. In fact, GitHub Copilot CLI has a general purpose agent. You just give it a normal prompt and it just does like the normal GitHub Copilot CLI like functionality underneath. There's no um, extra prompting to do anything different, right? But for me, I created a custom GitHub Copilot custom agent, right about right here, right? So I have these custom agents, and so I have an article writer custom agent, and it has a description. The really cool part is now they've introduced the concept of inner subagents. They always had subagents, but now you can have micro agents, right? Agents that are not executed directly by you, but they're executed by other agents. This is actually really complex. Like for example, when would you want to do fact extraction, right? Do it or synthesizer, right? That doesn't make any sense to just run that agent outright, but it makes sense in the context of this agent because it basically does really big things in one agent and conserving the context window. But anyway, so this is the agent, and it's and what its role is. So notice that's why I said it's like it has its motives, right? It has its identity. It defines certain standards, and then the phase one topic discovery. So this is like where it talk about the workflow, right? Like what's the workflow? Phase one, phase two, phase three, right? And and uh, and at the end, it's gonna have a doc. We're gonna have a create an article. And in GitHub Copilot, if you were in VS Code, let me just open up the chat. If you're in VS Code, you have custom agents. You can actually refer to your custom agents. And notice that the synthesizer or the link vetter are not in this list. Right? I have these other ones. These are coming from extensions, but I have the dev2 publisher thing, which I need to remove it. It's fine. But notice I just have the article writer. So, and the way that it knows that is if I go to the synthesizer, notice here that it has a disable model invocation, right? And so this is prevents the agent from being invoked as a subagent. Oh, sorry. Take that back. Scratch that. So the way that it knows to not invoke this directly from the chat is actually user invocable. Right? Can it be invoked by the user? And so it's at the false. And then disable model invoker is actually defaulted to true. And what that means is that a subagent can't invoke the subagent. And actually, by default, that makes sense, right? If you have like a bunch of custom agents, you don't want them to all like call each other, like by default. Because what if you run into like a really weird recursive loop or they don't make sense to do? So GitHub Copilot really try to secure this and standardize this a little bit better um, by adding this particular field and then also defining the agents that a subagent can has access to. So it's really cool. Um, so yeah, so right now let's go look at where this is now. All right, so it's still vetting the links. So vetting the links takes a little bit of time because it's actually it found a bunch of sources, and now it's like going through all of the sources. Actually, in fact, here is its research that it did. It'll later delete this file, but here's the research that it found a bunch of facts, and links. I mean, look how long this is. I mean, look at all these links that it found, right? It's a lot of sourced information, right? Really, really good information. And so, and then it also determined contradictions and flags. And so what it's doing right now, it's vetting all of the links. Like it's literally going through each one and making sure that they're accessible, making sure that the content in them matches what we're trying to cover. Um, research quality assessment, strong evidence categories, right? So it's basically building all this out um, in a separate subagent. And what's really critical here is whenever a subagent is run, the context window of that beginning, unless it's super impactful, but then that goes back into memory and things like that. And GitHub does have repository memory, right? Like we're gonna cover that topic very well because we are dedicated that time for that topic. You can think of it the same way with subagents, right? Like if you run a subagent, that subagent is only focused on what it's trying to do. So the quality of what it's doing is going to be very high. So if you have a very complex work stream that you want to execute, think about separating into subagents. Separating the subagents isn't always a good idea. It obviously depends on the scenario. But if it's a lot of context that you need to vet through and filter through, synthesize, then multiple subagents is a huge win, right? Because right now it did research, high quality. Now it's vetting the research. Again, another high quality, right? Like this agent is fully dedicated to validating the research. It's there's no concept of how it got it. There's no concept of what I kind of like. Why I do it kind of knows what I want, but there's no extra thinking that is required for the research. It's just vetting them. Um, and then so now I just finished vetting. So now it's doing synthesizer. Synthesizer is grabbing all of that information that we just did, all the research, and given what I kind of want to talk about. And then now it's going to. So I guess this is the time to maybe talk a little bit about what's the difference between custom agents and agent skills, right? In fact, let's kind of show off our agentic video editor real quick, and I'm going to talk about the difference. And I want you to put an image right now on the screen so that I have a reference point. So obviously, I just talked about it. A custom agent is an identity. An agent skill is a capability, right? A capability is loaded only when it needs to do that capability. An agent skill, I mean, a custom agent is I mean, agent skill is only when you need to bring that skill in for that capability, and a custom agent is a whole role with motives that has its own context window. Um, there's actually been some studies shown that the use of agent skills versus just straight context actually degrades with time or degrades with scale. So if you have a lot of skills, degrades, right? So I wouldn't I wouldn't just heavily lean on skills. Lean on your instruction files, but maybe lean on skills for augmenting context. Um, but yeah. All right, there we go. So look, so as you can see, it created the full MD file. Um, and now it's going to top mistakes creating custom agents. Oh, created it. All right, so let's see what's going to do next. I think that at this point, it's going to ask clarification questions, but we'll see. That's the change I just did. I wanted to use this video to actually test if it is going to ask me questions. Oh, it's not asking me questions. So that's a bug. It's now building it. Look, article looks great. Good. All right. Well, that's fine. We'll have to fix it to where it. I want it to ask me questions on the sources that it found. I guess it's not doing that. Fix that. Yeah, that's it. So there we go. Created it. 6 covered. Over engineering instructions. Build God agents. Oh yeah. Yep. Yep. Ignore context window. Yes. Skipping real world testing. Behavioral validation. Exact. Yep. Missing error handling. Yeah, that's good. I love that research. All right, so now let's look at the actual stuff. It's fun. There it is. There we go. That's better view. Let's read this now. Built a full agent. Here's what broke first. I recently built. Yeah, focus and brutal editing. Not more detail. Most custom agents fail not because the models is weak, because developers skip the hard parts. They're scoping, context management. Now here's some links here. So they give you a link on how to create a custom agent configuration for GitHub Copilot. Context rot. This is a very valid article to reference. Mistake number two: building God. Yep. Yeah, I love it. I love it. It's perfect. Oh, here we go. Very good. This is very. See, that's the thing here. So maybe I think I need another. I think I need another revision of my custom agents because this is very verbose. I mean, this thing is long. It's a lot of great information for sure, but like, I don't know the audience for this would be. I need to put that in because this is just like a all up everything, right? Like, it's just like everything. Like, it gives you everything about it. Here's a mental model. If you wouldn't put the logic in the same microservice, don't put it in the same agent. There's so much information in here. Jeez. Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to have another revision of my agent.